Good evening. This is Joseph S. Samaniego here again, and I am the author of the Carolingian Age series, and I'm joined today by another fantasy author, uh, Deston J. Munden,
Mm-hmm.
and he is the author of Tavern and a new book, Dusk Mountain Blues. So,
Yes, sir.
why don't you give us a little introduction there?
Oh, yeah, like you said, my name is Deston J. Munden. I'm a fantasy and science fiction author from North Carolina, and I like writing books.
Yeah, yeah.
I write them quite frequently.
So there's a couple of things we actually have in common. We love to write in fantasy and science fiction, and we're both North Carolinian. So
Oh, I didn't know you was like I'm in the Outer Banks, so
I'm in Raleigh.
okay,
Yeah,
that's nice. So I hope I can see you one time I'm in the area.
yeah. I mean, we gotta probably do some conventions or something once everything
Yeah.
gets back to some kind of normal.
Okay, I didn't know you was in North Carolina too, so that's neat.
Yeah, yeah. So I picked up Tavern
Uh-huh.
not too long ago. Actually, I had got to download a sample, and then you actually sent me a copy too. But and I read it, and it's definitely it's a great book. So
Huh?
review is forthcoming,
Okay,
but
thank you, thank you.
it's different because it's orc led,
Yeah, it is.
and that's something I think will throw a lot of fantasy fans kind of for a loop, but it's a good loop.
Yeah, it's a good loop. It's kind of getting kind of frequent, like with like Jonathan French being really like popular.
Mm.
But yeah, like it's a choice that I decided to make pretty early on. And like my next one has a more like normal main character, but I wanted to start it off with something
Yeah, yeah.
different.
I mean, yeah, it definitely was, and that just the opening scene really is takes you right into the heart of action and humor too. A
Yeah.
lot of great humor. So, what I guess what was the inspiration for Tavern?
Um, it was a lot of things. Oh, but mostly it's just my love for like video games and stuff like Dungeons and Dragons. Kind of like we're kind of like Warcraft and Dungeons and Dragons. My love for both of those combined together
Yeah.
ever since I was really young. So it's been in my the world has been in my head for quite a long time.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I definitely understand that. With the books that I write, that world has been created for probably 15 years or so. But it definitely, I think you're right. It is starting to become a little bit more normal to have the non-human or not even non-elf and
Yeah,
non-dwarf
main
races
characters.
come out. Yeah, like I was talking to a couple of buddies last night, and I was telling them about a game called Of Orcs and Men,
Yeah,
which you're playing an orc fighting against humans. So it's definitely different now.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely different. Like that would have been like unheard of, not even like 20 years ago.
Oh yeah. Well, I think games like Warcraft and the Elder Scrolls series did help to dispel the evil orc and everything. It's
Yeah,
like they're
like
not always evil.
yeah, like and like I think also Dungeons and Dragons popularity has like helped the
Yeah.
non-human protagonists
Hmm.
get a little more popular because like shows like Critical Role has gotten so super popular, and some of it like they have like one or two like human characters in general.
Exactly.
So I think it has helped it grow quite a bit.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. So let's go into this to your new book,
Hmm.
Dusk Mountain Blues. Now it's science fiction, but it's also a western.
Yeah, there's a space opera western.
So that is unique in itself. Although I mean, yeah, there have been a few.
Yeah,
Uh,
like Firefly.
yeah. Oh well, that and that really set a standard way ahead of his time.
Yeah.
But so what? What was? Did you grow up like in westerns?
Yes.
Okay.
My dad is a huge Western fan, so
Oh yeah. Same.
I wanted. Yeah, like I feel like every North Carolinian was like, "Yeah, I know that."
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely true. You know, having a dad grow. I mean, we can recite all these, you know, lines from different westerns. It's crazy.
Yeah, like I do have a love for westerns, and I also have a love for like space
Hmm.
and different and space operas in particular. Like I love like really kind of hammy space operas.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I decided to like kind of put them together. It's really
Oh.
after playing Red Dead Redemption 2.
Mhm.
Like that was like what made me want to write that book.
Yeah, and I mean the Western games are for me are always they're hard to find a really great one. Obviously, Red Dead Redemption, and the second one, Red
Yeah.
Dead Redemption Two, obviously are classics. Call of Juarez wasn't that bad. I don't know. Do you remember the old one called from LucasArts for PC, Outlaws?
Yes.
I used to have that. I had that. I love that game so much. And you know that was yeah, same whole concept of the Western. And but so tell us a little bit about uh, Dusk Mountain Blues, then, if you come on.
All right. I've been comparing it to X-Men meets Red Dead Redemption, sort of. Um, it it follows three protagonists, all in the same family, that are kind of like they're space hillbilly moonshiners.
Nice.
Um, and they have kind of caught the interest of a space empire known as the Civilization for the technology they have on the planet and for their unique genetic makeup,
Hmm.
because they're kind of a lost set of mutants that the first civilization created. So they're trying to like fight off basically colonizers while also like learning more about themselves as a family. Yep, the
That's
ad.
cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So it has a
um,
definite like family vibe to it as well. Then.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
big thing about family.
Yeah.
Like
That's cool.
it's, it means a lot because especially been living in a rural area. I spoke to a friend earlier about it, and they said like everyone that lives in a rural area has knows the Caldwells
Mm.
because like they're that family. They're that family that like you see in a rural
Yeah.
country area.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something you mentioned because that's I grew up here in Raleigh, but I from Nash County.
Hmm.
So that's where my family's from, and so there is a lot of that still kind of instilled into my brother and I of the family aspect. We don't get to see our family as much as we want to because military took a lot, pretty much took
Yeah.
everyone across the country. Uh, so, but it definitely has that something that I can relate to. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people, especially in the rural areas, can relate to that, and now more than ever, you know,
Yeah,
it's
now more
something.
than ever, like, starting to like realize how important like family
Yeah.
is.
Oh, definitely, definitely. This is the time that if you didn't realize how important your wife, children, parents, especially parents and grandparents, elders, or
Yeah,
you're really getting that sense now.
yeah, you know it now, and
Yeah,
like you start to realize what you'd be willing to do to like protect them.
exactly. So I mean, these could be some good books then, because Tavern also had a family dynamic as well
Hmm.
with the characters,
That
very
tends to be
close
what
knit.
that tends to be what I'll go for, because like where like Tavern was like friends, like though he like Zell had family,
Hmm.
he still had a lot of like close friends that he
Exactly. Yeah.
treated as family. With Dust Mountain Blues, it's like I wanted to focus on how you will protect your blood and and definitely the difference between your like the grandparent, parent, and grandchild dynamic.
Yeah.
Because that's what was a huge part of like the story.
Well, that's cool. So something that I think every fantasy author and science fiction author and really a lot of fiction writers will definitely want to love to hear about at this point is world building.
Okay.
Something that's just near and dear to my heart. I know, you know, from reading Tavern, I can definitely see it in there. There's a lot that goes into world building, but I think everyone takes it differently. I was watching something on YouTube, and the guy was talking about his world building dynamic, and it's just that's not how I do it, but that's fine. That's fine. And I even did the whole World Anvil website thing a couple times, and it's just like, you know, it's a different method.
Yeah.
So,
like,
what's your method, or what do you think of world building?
For me, it kind of develops in pieces. I usually have the characters in mind first, and then kind of build a world around them. There's sometimes I do like have a specific place or an idea or like a piece of history that I know that I want in the world, but I will have to just make a note of it and then like slowly build it all together. A lot of my world building actually develops within the first draft of getting to know the world. I don't want to say I go in with a blank slate, but it is kind of bare at first, and then I fill in like spots for the world and like start doing research on what cultures I want to like add into it, how certain things work, like magic and science, etc. So mine's a very gradual process from like start to finish.
Yeah,
and like
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot that can go into, I think, worlds as you're building them. I know you touched on a couple of things that I definitely do as well with world building, the cultures, historical aspects that I want to include, whether they be relatable to our known world or whether it's something completely just unique to that particular fantasy world. I know there have been times that I would use historical events to kind of inspire something. And yeah, definitely with magic, I think I've noticed from the time, because I wrote my books, the Carolingian Age books, out of order. I started out of order. And that's something I didn't want. I never expected to do, really. I love the idea of having a book and having history already added into it. So you're not coming in at the very beginning. You're not coming in at, you know, in the beginning it was dark and, you know, the primordial ooze of things. You know, I purposely put history in, but then I was like, I want to go back and redo. I want to go back and add in that history, talk about the history, and almost live in that history. And so that's what I ended up. That's why Dead Queen's War was the first book published, but then it's really one of the last books in the series. When I did do that history, I wanted to really make something new for the future books, because I felt like I was getting put in a corner with it, you know, just because of everything I did in that first book. So I've been involved in the work, even though as what I wrote today was I created a whole new kind of like a secret, not really a secret, but like a little order of these dark mages, basically necromancers. And I haven't really touched on much necromancy in these books. And so this is like going to be new territory for me on this one.
That is very interesting, because like I usually, the way I've been kind of writing my fantasy books is, like a majority of the books are going to happen in Zell's age. but there are previous things that has happened that I do want to touch on. Like I have a short story that hits on one of the Necromancer Kings.
Mhm.
That that happens in like 2 or 3 eras before Zelda even born. And like his history is still like in Zelda's world via like the card game that they play. So I was like, there's going to be pieces of that I'm going to touch on through short stories, while um the main story set is going to be in Zelda's, the main
and
era.
That sounds like a really good idea too. And I kind of did that with one recently, was touching on a couple in some short stories as well. That's always like just a good idea, just to that way you don't have to commit to a full novel, but you can still get a lot of information out.
And sometimes there's just not enough there that you will want to like have a full novel.
Yeah, exactly.
For.
Yeah, and there's a few. I was gonna, so the short stories I just released actually not too long ago, I was actually doing my plan was 10 stories, and I was just not feeling a couple of them, so I was like, I'm gonna do 8 then. And then as I was doing a couple, I'm like, no, this is gonna be too long. I want to keep it below a certain page length type of deal, because I wanted to make sure I could do it just like a 99 cent, and that's it. Nothing too expensive, just 99 cents ebook, no paperback or anything. And I was just like, man, I'm feeling these, like I think these are going to be long stories. I think these are going to just come out, I could do a full novel on a couple of these. So that's how I would get down to 5.
Yep. Sometimes it's just, you would think that like it comes off to be like kind of short, but like once you get into the concept, it could end up being a lot longer than it was.
Oh yeah, definitely. And so you also touched on cultures, using cultures. Now, are you so are you looking at using? I mean, do you like to use cultures that we find in our world today, and kind of just?
Yes, kind of. I kind of blend a little bit of like, I tend to blend a lot of cultures. Like for example, a lot of the like orcs is based off both Japan and Africa. But like not, but sometimes I just take like small things. For example, you get to go to another kingdom in the second book, and it's based off Mexico. And I'm like, that's not a lot of time. You don't see a lot of fantasy based around like Mexico. So I wanted to like switch that up.
No, I think that'd be really cool though.
Yeah. So like I want like I was trying to take like small things from different cultures and put them throughout the whole world and make it feel a lot more diverse and like than just Europe.
Yeah, and I think that's something that fantasy has done well in the last few years. Speaking for me as a Hispanic, half Hispanic writer, my mother being Hispanic, is something that I don't think I've seen too much of Hispanic culture being represented as much in fantasy until recent years. I know there's a few coming out now that are, and it's really good to see that.
Yeah, it is. It's nice.
But it's not just Hispanic, but it's you're definitely right. I mean, you look at like a lot of the stories from the pulp days, which I love Robert Howard's work, but I mean, it's a lot of it is very European. And even some of my stuff, I fall into that.
Same. I do that too. Like there are times I was like, sometimes I just want castles and swords, man. Like, and that's fine. But I try to like spice it up a little bit here and there just to make it feel more inclusive and more available for everybody.
Oh, definitely. And I know so I've used a little bit of the Japanese and Chinese influence for a particular culture in some of my books. Greek and Roman influences in another culture, and definitely a lot of the Byzantine, Arab so in fact more recently in a few of the stories that I've done, because I just love that whole aspect of the diversity and making a melting pot within
Yes,
that world.
same here. Like I enjoy having, because I feel like a lot of fantasy, even like in like George R. R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire, I felt like a lot of the time they were just like this huge, just blanket European,
Yeah,
and I'm like, I would like to see more from the other like cultures, even if it's just a little bit. It don't have to be like a huge. You don't have to
no,
make a huge deal out of it. Just like spice things up and make it like a little bit different.
yeah. And I just want to go ahead and apologize for all the times I'm drinking out of my cup. I just been talking a lot today, so my throat is
It's
needs a
fine.
little
That's
tea.
okay.
So apologize. You apologize to the viewers. But yeah, I definitely you're right. Game of Thrones did have, and they had a few little bits and pieces, especially if you watch the TV show.
Hmm.
You definitely got a chance to see the visual aspect, especially when they were in out of Westeros.
Yeah, definitely.
It definitely came across. So what's next then for world building? What are you still? So you're still obviously, I imagine, creating and evolving your world.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any
Yes,
kind of surprises or any kind of cool things we're going to see?
I think you're gonna see like, especially in the second book of the Tavern series, which is the Dark Chronicles.
Mhm.
Um, I get the chance to travel in this world. Well, like last time, Zell was contained mostly in one city. I wanted to make a book this time where the character has to jump from city to city and travel.
Mhm.
So, and you get to see different things. So this was a different type of writing because I had to like plan out where they're gonna go next.
Yeah.
And like now, I'll probably gonna actually have to get an actual world map done and commissioned
Yeah.
because now we're gonna be moving from place to place.
Yeah.
But
And that's always fun. Trust me. I love
yeah,
making maps.
I'm looking forward to it because maps are really cool. And I'm a huge map nerd.
Yeah.
Like I can't draw the map, but I can appreciate a map.
I definitely shake too much to draw nowadays. I used to hand draw all my maps. Now I just shake too much. Just I don't know, some genetic thing that I got from my dad, but so I stick to like Wonder Draft and CC3, and I'm looking at other. I know the Incarnate is pretty good, but I'm definitely looking.
It's also just nice to have like a physical like look into the draft when you're doing like when you're writing. You're gonna get lost in your own world.
Oh yeah, that's one of the first things I do when I set up my the Microsoft Word format, and I always put the maps in first.
Yeah,
Just so I could have it, and I go back to it, until I get a good feel in my head of where we're at, as I'm still getting comfortable with the map. Because we're exploring the world just as much as the reader is when we first develop those maps.
yeah. And sometimes like we have to go back and fix things because like we don't know what happened. We don't know what like where we went wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I don't want to keep you too long because it's a Monday night and about to hit 9 o'clock here. So, but I do appreciate you talking to me.
I'm glad that we had a chance to actually talk.
Yeah, and I would love to continue this on a in a future date here in the near future, because I definitely want to talk to you more about world building, and I know you're a RPG player, so I would definitely like to talk to you more about that and how that works. And I guess real quick, do you work any of your role playing games into your stories, or vice versa?
Recently, yes. It wasn't like that at first, but like since I've gotten much more into the role playing aspect and tabletop games, you're definitely going to see it in the next books.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. I definitely think. I'm not trying to develop or put that into any of my game, my
Yeah.
stories into my games yet. I will, maybe name a character on a video game after a character, but I definitely have given thoughts to it. So and I think most fantasy authors have.
Yeah, yeah. Most fantasy authors that would like think of like at least name one of their RPG characters after their characters from a book or vice versa.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, again, yeah, like I said, I appreciate you talking to me here, and I look forward to next time we can do this.
All right.
Definitely want to have more in depth discussion, especially on world building
All
and
right.
RPGs. So, thanks again. Thank you for everybody for watching.
Thank
Please
you.
pick up Deston's books. They're great. I've started Dust Mountain Blues. Like I said, I've already finished Tavern. Great read. Be prepared for something a little different, which is good. After I'm done talking, they will show the covers.
Yeah.
So I already got that loaded up, ready to go, and then they're available on Amazon. Anywhere else, or just Amazon?
Just Amazon right now. I will have an audio book later this June for Tavern.
And look for the links in the description, the Amazon link and Deston's links for his site. So, right. Stop on by. So thank you everybody for joining. Again, this is Joseph S. Samaniego with Deston Munden, and we are going to be gone for a night. Take care.